170 Union out through Jennings Station is still slow. Both directions between 270 and the Blanchette kind of busy. 94 through Jobot Cave Springs. TR Hughes past K and west of Lake St. Louis through 61. It's all slow. If you're on southbound 270, still a jam. South of Page in pockets to Manchester, but it's slow all the way down to Gravel even after that. Southbound 170 is bumper to bumper pretty much the whole way from north of Olive to 64. North 170, south of Natural Bridge up to Airport Road, a few slow spots. Westbound 64, bumper to bumper from Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinker. Slow to Big Bend. Clayton Orson out to Ballas is busy. West of Clarkson out through almost to the Boone Bridge is slow. And again, it gets heavy at 364. Eastbound 64 is jammed from almost Boone's Crossing. They cleared a crash to the shoulder east of Clarkson, and then it's still heavy McKnight through Big Bend. Westbound 44, Shrewsbury Laclede Station a little heavy. The right lane's back up west of Lindbergh. Southbound 55 Arsenal down through Bates, bumper to bumper. Downtown eastbound 44 at Jefferson. Westbound 44 actually is slow on to 70, and that is back through Salisbury. Next update at 5:20 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Hey, it's Jeff at Saks Financial. Over the last 15 years, we've been able to help our clients focus on the fundamentals and tune out the daily grind by putting a great retirement plan in place. If you don't have one, find out how to get started at retiresafestl.com.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here until 5:45. We got the pregame show starting up at 5:50. First pitch at 6:45 tonight. And, of course, tonight, Matt, you got an interesting matchup. I mean, obviously, Miles Mikolas has been better for the last month and a half than before that. And then Chris Bassett actually has been pretty good for Toronto this year. So it should be a fun matchup. But the Cardinals do get one bonus. No Vlad Guerrero Jr. tonight, getting a night off. So
yeah, you'll take that. And just to pull back the curtain a little bit, you and I were just literally texting about stuff,
Seconds
and then the
ago.
moment the show starts, we just keep on going. So what people are hearing right now, it's just a continuation of what we do the rest of the day.
If you tuned into the stream a couple seconds before we went live on the show, you saw the two of us with our phones looking down and texting, and we were texting each other. That's how stupid we are. And we were texting about baseball, and we were texting about the Cardinals. In fact, the good thing, though, is it'll be stuff that comes up here during the show. So we can count it as show prep, Matt.
There you go.
It's all
memo to the boss.
It's work product. That's what we were doing. We were working when we were texting on that stuff. Well, we got our normal Tuesday routine now, which is we're going to take some of the kind of the key points that came up with Ollie Marmol during the Gas House Gang. So if you don't catch it, you should, by the way, because he does a half hour every Tuesday. And today it was Matt and Bernie hosting it. Normally it'll be Ranjan, Tom, and Bernie, and you get this group of people that are running things by. And by the way, they're looking at the comments, they're answering questions from listeners. It's a great half hour if you're a Cardinals fan. And it doesn't mean you have to be like, yep, everything he says is what I agree with. That's not what I'm talking about. But he's always honest. He's always there. And he's going to give you some logic, right? He's going to give you his logic. And you can, again, disagree with some of those. Occasionally I do. And occasionally I listen and I go, all right, his thoughts make more sense than my thoughts because he has more information than I do. So it's a really good listen. And if you don't catch it, you're missing out. You should catch the Gas House Gang every day anyway, but don't miss it on Tuesdays, especially from 12 to 12:30.
There's a certain group of people out there that really want us to argue with Ollie or go at him hard. That's not what we do. We ask questions. I asked today, why did Ryan Valade start 3 straight games when you lament the fact that you can't find time for Nolan Gorman? But I realized this today reading the comments. There's a lot of people that are looking for us to yell and scream and go that's not what it is. We are going to ask him the questions about what's going on with the team, and then he answers them. And hopefully fans enjoy hearing his reasoning.
And he's not dismissive of other views, right?
Right.
It's not like we're a group of people. I mean, I'm not on that show, but the four of us, actually the 5 of us really. Because if you were to count me in that group, but the 4 guys that rotate in, you and Tom and Ranj and Bernie, are not exactly going to soft pedal, But there's a way to get information because here's the problem that the screamers miss, and I don't think they're a big percentage, but they're definitely loud. is that if you start the shouting match, well, then you're going to miss out on exchange of ideas, and you're not going to understand, because then it just becomes everybody's defending themselves. And I know, because I engage in shouting matches. It's part of what I do. But it's important to get the view, because even if you disagree with the ideas or a couple of them, it's better to understand how they're seeing it so you can then process that as you're watching, right? And I think that's the real value in it. So there are a couple things today, and we'll get through them as we play some of these highlights. There were a couple things today where I thought, not sure I agree with that assessment, but I appreciate the explanation, because every time I listen to that show, I understand better what he's seeing.
Yeah.
God almighty, people. I'm going to throw this on there because I just have to.
Okay.
Our Cards baseball wisdom says Matt and Bernie aren't allowed to attack Oliver. First of all, they're allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to be taking Bernie Miklas and telling him he can or can't do anything when it comes to how he wants to approach questioning someone. So, no, it's not that. It's about how you extract information. Think of it this way. You're having an argument with someone just in real life. You're having a debate. And if you escalate it and start yelling, or you smack somebody, now the conversation's over. And now it's an argument. Now it's a fight, and we need to learn things to understand them. So it's not how it works. And you can scream and yell all you want, but screaming and yelling does not get answers, and it does not help solve problems in this kind of a setting. So,
if you woke up this morning going, why in the world is Ryan Vilade playing so much? Well, now you know the answer. You might not agree with it, but now you know the answer.
Are we going to get to that later, or are we going to get to that early?
We'll do that later.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're going to get to that later, because I absolutely disagree with the logic being expressed there. I appreciate hearing it. I think it's kind of silly, but that doesn't mean that's fine. We're all allowed to do that. It's just that simple. And that's the fact. Now, I will say we got a follow-up from our Cards baseball wisdom who said you got to be professional. To a degree, yeah, but it's not unprofessional to argue with someone. It's about how you go about things. That's it. And you're not, again, all of us have interviewed all kinds of people. I mean, all of us. I mean, you interviewed Tony La Russa back in the day. You interviewed Dave Duncan. You interviewed Ollie and Mike Matheny and Mike Schilt and players and front office people. Our goal is to get information. That's our job, is to get information. You don't get any when you start yelling. You just don't. Yeah. So if you want information, that's how you do it. There's a simple lesson in how this goes. All right, let's get into a highlight or two here. Let's talk. We're going to talk Helsley first.
Yeah, let's do Helsley.
All right, go ahead and set it up.
All right, so right now, when you look at Helsley, and specifically with his four-seam fastball, he has a batting average against it of 426, an expected batting average of 343. So he's actually been very unlucky but even the expected is still pretty tough, 343.
That's bad.
When you consider where it has been recently. So we asked Ollie about that today, and he went through what exactly he thinks is going on when it comes to the four-seam fastball.
When you throw 100, 102, you get away with a little bit more than the guy that's throwing 91, 92. But it's still a matter of getting ahead. When you fall behind guys, it's a little bit more predictable, and you can take your shot. So falling behind's a part of it, but also the locations of his pitches. And Denton asked this question last night. The fastball, when you look at the location of it in 24 compared to 25, he's missing over the plate a little bit more. But it's not just the fastball; it's the location of that slider as well. And it's a combination of those two things that's not allowing for the same swing and miss that we saw last year, and the swing and miss on that slider as well. So there's some things that he's aware of. It's always high leverage in that role, so it's always going to be magnified, but he's aware of what he needs to do, and we're going to continue to get after it, because a couple of those yesterday, that ball's hit. All right, he crushed that ball. But some of the other ones, man, it's just CNI singles that get through, one hits the base, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But the swing and miss, to your point, is something that we're working on.
So he blames it a lot on being behind in counts and just being able to put the pitch in the zone.
Well, this is the problem, and he's right. Ollie nailed it on that. It's about fastball location and not working from behind, because when you work from behind, people are going to sit on the fastball. They're just not going to swing at the slider, because the slider's unhittable.
It is.
Opponents are hitting 093 against the slider, or 095 against the slider, slugging 190. Nobody's doing anything on it, so they're not going to swing at it unless they have to. Well, if they're behind in the count, they'll just take it. Even if it's a strike, they'll just take it, and they're going to wait for the fastball. So it's definitely that. It's absolutely throwing the ball down the middle too much. I mean, let's be honest. If that pitch that he threw to Clase last night, that Clase hit into the seats, wasn't 98 middle, and it was 98 middle away, it's a flyout.
Or if it's 102 middle, it might be a flyout.
Maybe, but the point is, no matter the count, if you locate 98 down and away, up and away, up and in, away, it's not a home run. It's a flyout or a doink or a single, and that's it. And by the way, that's comforting to me. It's not Ryan Helsley's not broken. His fastball velocity is not down enough to matter. The spin rate is the same as last year, so the quality of the pitch is there. He just commands that pitch better, and he's back to being Ryan Helsley.
Yeah, he topped out at 101.9 yesterday, just to your point. Like, velocity is fine. Now, that being said, Helsley's never been a super location guy. He's gotten away with some pitches because of how hard he can throw the ball.
Right, but it's worse this year.
Yes.
I mean, there's a reason why he's still throwing 100 and his swing and miss rate's going down and his strikeout rate's going down because it's just too hittable where he's locating it. If he's missing up in the zone, he's probably fine. When you're missing middle and you're missing thigh high and below, that's when guys can catch up to velo. It's hard to catch up to velo top of the zone. And I will say, we'll close on this on the Helsley thing and take a quick break. I don't like hearing the soft contact thing because it has happened. That's what we were texting about. It has happened. You pointed out the game against the Dodgers. There were a couple of bad luck plays, a ball to second base that could have been played, all of that. That's true. But he's in the bottom 8% in baseball in hard hit rate against and the bottom 6% in average exit velo. That's not soft contact or bad luck. You're giving up too much hard contact.
And it's all against the four-seamer. Real quick, but I know we have to get a break. This is only about 30 seconds. This is Ali talking a little bit about what can be done to fix the issue.
Throwing it for strikes, but then being able to expand when needed and not missing over the plate when you're trying to go out. So it's a combination of things, and it's hard to just sit here and say that it's one thing that's leading to it. Part of it is randomness and the position of being a closer, like I mentioned earlier, it being magnified. But there are some things that we are aware of, he's working on, and I would not be concerned with Helsley just being Helsley. There's going to be stretches that suck, and this is one of them. But I do think he's handling it extremely well.
So they say there's things that they are aware of.
Hey, it's fixable, right? Throw the fastball where you want to instead of down the middle. It's better. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. More from the manager coming up next on the Redbird Rush Hour.
Cardinal Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen and Eddie Scholler from the world-famous Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Hey, buddy, have you came over and looked at the new Eddie at Fast Eddie's? I finally got a new item. You know, it's been decades.
Decade? More like 40 years to figure out how to put a piece of shrimp on there with your steak.
I've known you for 40 years. You could have said something. Well, who'd have thought the Elwood could even get better? But we did it. We went and we made the Eddie. It's a foot-long serving turn.
Not that I needed another reason to bring the whole gang down there. I'm still going to order those big Elwoods, the succulent peel-and-eat shrimp, the hot chick on a stick, and that famous Fast Eddie burger. And I'm always going to get one of those ice-cold frosty ones and listen to that live music on that patio every afternoon and evening.
Well, I just love adding another great item for everybody to come over and enjoy. When you come on over the beautiful Clark Bridge to look at the picturesque Mississippi River.
Picturesque. That's very eloquent.
Thank you very much.
Well, like Mr. Shannon says, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to picturesque Alton, Illinois, and see the very eloquent Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards a new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old entry door too. It's Cash for Clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free, in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for Supplement Superstores. And look, I've been a customer of theirs since 2013, and there's a reason for that. Supplement Superstores is the best. They are always on the cutting edge of science, so when they find better products, that's what they work with. And they also have the best people. All of the employees at Supplement Superstores are certified sports nutrition specialists and personal trainers. So they'll work with you to build a simple eating plan and workout routine that fit your goals. And by the way, they do that for free. So to find your Supplement Superstores location and get started down your path to success, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Westbound 70 is still heavy at the city limits from Kings Highway out through Jennings Station. There's still heavy traffic both ways between 270 to Blanchette, westbound from 79 to K, and west of Bryan Road out to 61. Still some slow stretches. South 270 still jammed. South of Page to Ladue, busy both ways between Ladue and a point south of Manchester. After that, southbound's not so bad. It's a solid backup on southbound 170, approaching Olive all the way to 64. Westbound 64, bumper to bumper, Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinkers, slow to Big Bend, slow Spady to 270. Both directions between the Chesterfield Parkways are heavy with the westbound stuff, slow to the Boone, and then again at 364. Southbound 55, Arsenal down through Bates is pretty much stacked up the whole way through. Eastbound 44, 55 up to the Poplars heavy. Eastbound 70 from Salisbury on to westbound 44 past the Poplars jammed, and 64 is backed up across the bridge. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
The world is a vampire sent to drain.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, spending a little bit of time at the beginning of the show going over a couple of the highlights, the key points from Ollie Marmol on the Gas House Gang earlier today, which was hosted by Matt and Bernie Miklas. They went through a bunch of key topics, including the Nolan Gorman subject that we talk about a lot. And, you know, he does too, by the way. Ollie talks about it a lot too, and it's sometimes we've been asking, like, when does the talk match the lineup? And it's starting to. He's in there again today, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think there's two parts of this. There's the Gorman not facing lefties, and there's like the whole Valade thing that is connected. So we'll get into both of those things. Let's start with just specifically the reasoning behind Gorman not facing lefties, because if you look at his career numbers, not from a slug, he obviously has slugged right-handers better than he slugged left-handers. But like from a batting average on base perspective, things like that, it's actually pretty similar. Despite that, we have not seen Gorman in the lineup much against lefties, and this is Ollie's explanation.
Our lineup, at the moment, you can build an argument for, hey, just throw him in there against lefties and don't worry about using the bench. Give this kid as many at-bats as possible, which, like, he's in there again today, and we're going to continue to find at-bats for him. So I can build an argument for both sides of that. We had an opportunity the other day, and we chose to go Burleson against Kershaw. And he took some really good swings against him, right? So, like, that'd be an opportunity for Gorman. The reality is Burleson's swinging it pretty well right now, so you got to play that hand. So you're constantly choosing kind of which direction you want to go there. There is opportunity even left on left for him. Because to your point, in 23, he did a really nice job. And you look at that series, we went into Washington, I believe, last year when they had this row of lefty starters, and we played him there, and he did a really nice job against them as well. So it's not that he can't hit lefties. We'll mix and match and give him the best chance. You look at that little guy that threw yesterday. I mean, Newton Donnie took at bats against them. They're pretty good, patient, disciplined hitters, and they both chase like crazy against him. That's a really, really tough left on left at bat. So we'll pick our spots for him, but that's not to say that he can't start against lefties.
Count that as an answer I don't like.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. One, when he's talking about getting guys in off the bench, Gorman is one of your guys off the bench. I don't care how many at-bats Ryan Vilade is getting. I'm not worried about keeping him fresh or finding out about him. Like, Gorman's a guy you need to find out about because you have decisions to make at the end of this year, and the talent comparison between the two of them is not close. That's part of it. Also, that was not the ninth inning of the game. There was a really good chance when they made that pinch-hitting decision that that spot could come up again. And it was not going to come up again against another left-handed pitcher. So now you're stuck with Vilade against a right-handed reliever in the ninth inning. And that doesn't make any sense. Or sorry, it was the 10th inning, one of the two.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense either. And then there's on top of that, which is the separate question from the Gorman thing, which we'll get to here in a second on Vilade. Why not Pozo instead of Vilade? You've got two catchers on the bench. You have your insurance policy. You have Pajes and Pozo, and Pozo has clearly had a better offensive season at the major league level and has a better minor league track record than Vilade. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I'm team Nolan Gorman here. I want to see Gorman in the lineup more. I didn't, and we'll get more into the Vilade stuff later, but I didn't like Vilade getting 3 straight starts against lefties. But also, to not be completely hypocritical, I'm also the guy who always talks about put guys in position to be as successful as possible. And I just have to wonder, and maybe Ali feels like he can't completely say this because he doesn't want to sound like he's throwing one of his guys under the bus, but are they at kind of this tenuous point right now with Gorman as he's working on some things that as they continue to try to get him to make strides moving forward, that it's that much more important than that they put him in advantageous situations. And I think I can argue against that, but I also think there's a really good point to be made there, and I understand why they would feel that way. But it's just, at the end of the day, you also want to see the team have the best guy at the plate at any given moment.
And that's fine. And if he had hit Pozo for him there, I have a much smaller complaint. Because Pozo's actually had good at-bats at the major league level this year, and he's hitting .293 in his opportunities. And he's got a great track record of hitting at AAA as well. And if he has to turn around and face a right-hander later, I'm also fine with that, compared to Ryan Vilade. But if you are of the opinion in that spot, not you, but if you're the team, and you're of the opinion in that spot that you can't trust Nolan Gorman in that position to bat against, you think one bad at bat against a lefty is going to change his trajectory? That's pretty set. I feel that's nonsense. That's nonsense. One bad at bat's not going to change his trajectory.
No, I think we're talking about two different things. Like the pinch hit last night was weird. The starting him, the Vilade starts as opposed to Gorman against lefties.
Yeah, they're definitely different.
That's what I was more talking about.
No, 100% on that. But again, if the team is that worried, then call up Sajaci and give him these opportunities.
Right.
You have a right-handed bat that's better.
Call Baker.
Okay, I'll take that. I'd rather have Sajaci, but okay. I can take that too. That's Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. It's the Redbird Rush Hour here on 104.1 KMOX.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrip Buick GMC.
Get ready, St. Louis. The Cubs are coming to town June 23rd through the 26th. The Cardinals host baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium in a series that always delivers. The Chicago STL rivalry is legendary, and the energy in the ballpark will be electric. It's the perfect way to spend a summer day or night at the ballpark with passionate fans and nonstop action. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/tickets.
Hey, this is Sonny Gray, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Hey parents, looking for something fun and unforgettable to do with the kids? Bring the whole family to a Cardinals game at Busch Stadium. From kid-friendly activities and giveaways to awesome promotions like Kids Run the Bases. Your little ones will have a blast, and so will you. Check out Family Sundays, presented by Smithfield, where select tickets include a free jumbo hot dog and soda. There's nothing like sharing the magic of Cardinals baseball together. Make your memories this summer at Busch Stadium. Tickets are available at cardinals.com.
And now, a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at Progressive.com.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and I see more clearly thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Make your appointment today at 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
At 5:31, this newscast is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station, sunshine and 79 downtown at the Arch. The Sheriff's Department and Department of Corrections are at odds over transporting detainees to the hospital.
We have decided to continue transporting and watching detainees needing medical care on a temporary basis.
On June 2nd, Sheriff Alfred Montgomery told the Board of Aldermen he has rescinded his threat of no longer transporting detainees in need of medical care to the hospital. Despite this, a spokesperson for the Department of Public Safety says in the 7 instances they have requested emergency transportation since June 3rd, none of them were taken up by the Sheriff's Department, and instead the Department of Corrections transported them. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Department called this a lie. In a statement, Judge David C. Mason said only 3 times lack of available deputies prevented the Sheriff's Department from transporting detainees to the hospital. He says there was no refusal to transport detainees, adding they remain committed to making all efforts to assure detainees have appropriate medical care. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX has requested interviews and documentation from both sides, awaiting a response. We have a KMOX update on St. Louis County's Animal Care and Control Shelter.
The St. Louis County Council will hold another Committee of the Whole meeting this Thursday. The council subpoenaed several people with connections to the shelter, including current Public Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham, her Deputy Director, the Missouri Agriculture Inspector, and several former employees, including Dr. Douglas Pernikoff, who suddenly quit amid the parvovirus outbreak, and neither he or the county ever gave an explanation. Councilman Dennis Hancock.
Feedback that we're getting is most of the people that received those subpoenas will be there on Thursday. There are a few folks that we've heard from that are either out of town or simply can't make it on Thursday. But most of the people that we've heard from and that we sent the subpoenas to are planning to be there.
That Committee of the Whole meeting starts at 3:30 and is open to the public. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Cannabis products are highly regulated in the state of Illinois, but again this year, legislation that would have placed more requirements on hemp-derived products stalled in the state capitol.
I would say be careful, be very judicious about using them.
Dr. James Swartz with the University of Illinois Chicago studied hemp products, including edibles, vapes, and other ingestibles. Swartz says some are even more potent than cannabis products and could pose other risks.
Since there is no real regulation of the manufacturing process, there have been studies showing that a lot of the chemical solvents that are used in processing these remain in the products.
Swartz says there's ongoing debate about how much regulation is needed for psychoactive hemp products. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
For tonight, a clear sky, low 62. For Wednesday, partly sunny with the high 89. Full moon Wednesday night, low 68. For Thursday, high of 87. Right now, sunshine, 79 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUOTE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUOTE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUOTE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here on 104.1 KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Time now for our Game Day Men's Health Peak Performer. Get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. You're going to get some repeats here, right? We have a 26-man roster. We're not always going to have a lot of variety, but I just want to point out again the greatness of Ivan Herrera, who had the big home run yesterday. And, yep, he slumped recently, Matt, because, you're going to have a leveling off when you're hitting 400. Like, it's just not going to be the case. But he's come up big late in games. And what I've been really impressed by, and I talked about this with Ricky Horton earlier today, he has had equal amounts of severe damage against fastballs and breaking balls. And the only thing that's really given him trouble are changeups and splitters, but even that's been small because you don't see that many of them. Like 90% of the pitches he sees are fastballs or sliders, and he's crushing both. I mean, fastballs, breaking balls, and he's crushing both.
Stop me if I said this yesterday because I talked to him yesterday, but one of the things he said that I thought was interesting, he didn't take batting practice yesterday. And generally, you like guys to take BP. He knows his swing so well. Mm-hmm. He says when he swings too much pregame, his swing gets long, and he can feel when that starts to happen. And when that starts to happen, he pulls himself out of BP. So yesterday, he intentionally did not take BP, hits the big home run, thought that was interesting. I asked him, is that a you thing, or is that something the team has told you? And he said, no, like as I've gone through my baseball career, I've learned when my swing starts to get out of whack, and a lot of times it's actually connected to swinging too much.
It's a good thing. You know, a lot of hitters don't know anything but swing more. And sometimes it's important to understand that, you know, sometimes less is going to be better. You're going to be a little more rested. You'll get it, especially when you're in a good place, right? And he's been in a good place almost all season long. He had, maybe 4 or 5 games where he struggled, but that's just, again, normal leveling off process, right? But when you look at all the things that give you sustainability, he does not chase too much. He draws his walks. He doesn't strike out very much. He's got great bat speed. He hits the ball hard. He hits the ball hard in the air. Like he really covers all of the fundamentals of what will make you a good hitter. So I don't know if he's a 965 OPS at the end of the year, but I know this, he's going to be well above major league average come the end of the year because of those traits.
Legit middle of the order run producing bat.
Although hitting second tonight. Which is totally fine, by the way. No, totally fine. No complaints. Just the opportunity because Newt's getting the day off.
Yeah, and like we can argue if we want about Wynn being in the leadoff spot. I'm not going to get upset
about it. Not for one
it.
game, no.
Right.
Just, now, as long as it's not a regular thing. Even though now he's better. So now it's less of a thing than it was when we were talking about it way back at the beginning of the year. All right, let's take a quick break for traffic. We'll come back and wrap up this show. A reminder, pregame's coming up at 5:50 here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, guys, if you're coming in for the ball game on eastbound 70, you got some trouble out there. This traffic reports a service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. First of all, eastbound 70 is heavy from the Blanchett to 270, but you jam just past the Natural Bridge exit up to a crash before you get to Bermuda that's blocking the left lane on eastbound 70. Southbound 170, Delmar slow, but it jams. Ladue down to 64. Westbound 64, bumper to bumper. Kings Highway through Hampton, slow through Bellevue. It's slow Lindbergh to Ballas. West of Clarkson, kind of busy to Boone's Crossing, and some slow stuff again from 364 out to 70. By the way, westbound 70, heavy stuff around the city limits. It's a little slow again, 94 to Zumbel and approaching A to Z out in the Wentzville area. South 270 still backs up north of Olive to Ladue, but it's slow in spots all the way down to Gravois, so just be prepared. Southbound 55 is solid jam. South of Arsenal to Bates. Westbound 44 backed up between the bridges. Westbound 64 is on the brakes. 3rd Street across the Poplar. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, picking it back up on the Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you for about another 3.5 minutes. So we'll be breaking at 45, pregame 5:50, first pitch 6:45 tonight. All right, did we want to play the last clip and finish up the Ryan Vilade conversation from earlier?
Yeah, so this is Ollie. This is really a two-pronged thing. It's why Vilade is getting the opportunities that he's getting, and also specifically why you would go with Vilade over a scenario where you would put Donovan in the outfield and Gorman at second. It would help if I turned it on.
When you look at the camp and the at-bats that Vilade has taken, spring training and then in AAA, I actually like his at-bats. It's a professional at-bat. It hasn't looked good up here. I'll agree there. But this is a guy that actually takes a really good at-bat. And unfortunately, it hasn't panned out for him in the limited time that we've given him up here. So it's easy to argue, hey, just throw Gorman in there. But this is also about Donovan. This guy's having an all-star season at second base, and the consistency of him playing there is also important, right? He's been a big part of our defense. So you start shuffling guys around, and you mess with that consistency to some degree. So Donnie will be in left today. Gorman will be at second. And we'll do it from time to time. But part of this is also just keeping the consistency of our infield, because that's been a really good part of our season. And Donnie's done a tremendous job there. So I'm trying not to kind of swing him around too much.
Kevin, it's possible to value a lot of things, and then you got to prioritize your values. So it really feels like there is a prioritization of the value of wanting to keep this infield defense together.
Then stop talking about finding at-bats for Gorman. Because under all of the different rules we've heard over the last week, it's just not going to happen. We don't want to move Donovan off second base. Well, then that limits you to DH. Well, you're not going to take Herrera out of the lineup unless he's going to catch. That's going to be once a week. Like, I don't think it's a negative. Like, I don't think they hate Gorman. That's not where I'm going. But, like, there's always a shifting dynamic on the explanation. There's always that. Like, am I being crazy? Like, because if you're telling me all the time we got to find at-bats, well, then there's no place to find them.
Yeah,
the bonus of Donovan is that he's productive and consistent even when you move him from one spot to another. And if we're not going to maximize that tool, you cannot maximize your lineup.
I think it is a legitimate thing to want to keep your infield defense together when it has been as good as it's been. If I am ranking my priorities, though, I would probably prioritize getting Gorman in the lineup more than I would prioritize having that infield defense and keeping Donovan at second.
Again, and when it comes to this perspective, when we're putting guys that are not prospects, that are not long-term fixtures on the team ahead of getting Gorman in the lineup. Now, if it's Walker in the outfield, different argument.
Sure.
Completely different. If it's Burleson, completely different argument. When it's Valade getting those at bats, I don't want to hear about keeping the infield thing. That's where you adjust and you get your best lineup out there.
I also understand that you look at Valade and you look at what he did in spring and you look at what he did at Memphis, and that's the most recent sample to look at, so that's valid. But what's also valid is his major league track record with Detroit and Colorado, and he really hasn't done much. His numbers against lefties are worse than Gorman's numbers against lefties in the big leagues.
Good wrap-up pregame coming up with Matt Pauley at 5:50 here on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them.